And while we are preparing our wedding, I discovered that this girl that I fell in love with was cheating on me. She was dating her old boyfriend.
Oh, snap.
And I completely crashed to no end. I had a dream, and one looked like Jesus says, Ali, there's a gift out there, more precious than life itself. Go out and look for it. And because of that dream, I packed my cases and I began to travel from state to state, randomly looking for that dream might show up. And guess what? That dream came.
At least in my opinion, the concept and the mission are pure, meaning that it's a battle between good and evil.
Amen.
And whether you believe it's Muslim or Christian or whichever faith you follow, it's about good and evil. And at the end of the day, when you check out, you have to answer for your time on this planet, on this earth, before your creator, whether it's Allah or whomever, however that comes out. And so I think what this is about is that we talk about the mission being pure and good, and then the marketing of that has what's turned it into something else. It was used and marketed to enslave an entire group of people, and keep them suppressed or oppressed.
You know, back then, they only believe in the supernatural. Today, we are living in a modern time where people demand logical, reasonable explanation. So they push away all this superstition, stuff like that, and supernatural, and wanted to know. So, and even Jesus himself promised that when he come back, he will bring a new truth. He said, I'm speaking to you now in figures and parable, but when I come back, I will speak plainly of the Father. So
in all your dreams, and when you saw God and Jesus,
yes,
how did he appear to you? Did he appear to you in the same nationality that you are? Did he appear as a blue-eyed, blonde-haired guy?
Actually, Jesus does not match any of Hollywood Jesus, the blonde and long hair. The Jesus that I saw is built like you, Mark. That's what Israel people or Arab people look like.
This is puzzling to me. Being Jesus is mentioned in the Quran more than anyone. Is he denouncing Muhammad? And that's SWT. Are you denouncing Muhammad?
Absolutely not. I'm not denouncing Islam. Glaring up to the sky to see if Jesus appeared on a cloud. Jesus is not coming on a cloud. When he comes, he will be born anew like a human being.
And nobody's asking the questions. Hold on. Paul was just writing a letter to the churches. He was just talking to them. He wasn't talking to us. He didn't even know we existed. He wasn't writing this for people 2,000 years later. He was just writing to the church then. He wasn't talking to us.
The best Bible study I ever heard is called The Divine Principle, the teaching of Reverend Sun Myung Moon. This is the one that answer every question you have about the Bible.
You know, because I was not born into religion. I found it when I became an adult. And I was searching, and when Reverend Moon came along in my life is when I just had a damn overload with the evangelical and the black churches after the 2006 Peace Festival. I was in a red eye, wanting to go back and get some blood. And I have to tell you, Peter did something and takes me to see Reverend Moon. I look for things that make sense. And that's the only thing that the Divine Principle did for me. It helped me to put things in some order of making sense.
Our minds
I'm talking about
is this big, right? Our minds is this big. And it makes sense to the expansion of our minds as this big. Well, what happens if you learn more stuff or whatever and your mind gets this big? Does it still make sense? You know what I mean? But
God brought a new age. Totally 100 years ago, we have no TV, no radios, no cellular phone, no internet. 100 years ago, only 100 years ago. It doesn't take us genius scientists to say this is the last days.
You may be talking about humanity as a whole, but humanity as a whole doesn't give two rats asses about the black community or the Central American slave community, because if they did, there wouldn't be a need for the truth be told or anything else talking about us as a people.
Well, I personally believe that no peace will ever come to America until the black people being resolved.
You know what? My dad has said that for years.
Until America get right with the descendants of American slaves on this stall, the rest of the world will not be saved and taken care of. If we do not uncover the religious truth and the discovery of all of that, we don't get no truth, okay?
We got
everything
nowhere.
else is fictional, okay? We have to cover these conversations. And the people who've been the most deceived by this is the slaves that came into the lie. They were children.
Yep.
They were children.
Slaves.
You know, that's the reason why my parents let us make the decision to get baptized and all that type stuff. They didn't do it for us as a child,
right?
Because what sense does that actually make to do that as a child? You know,
on asking questions of our Creator and getting answers, and that's what I basically say that prayer is. So I try to stay in prayer, and I've noticed when I get out of prayer, anger, resentment, jealousy, all those things starts to rear its ugly head. So I'm trying to stay as much in prayer as possible.
And so regardless of what religion anyone follows, I still believe it comes down to good and evil. And as long as we do more good, and our goal is to do good,
Amen.
then evil can't survive. And if every religion is following that, we can't help but be unified in some place down the road.
There you go.
You know, if I don't believe in me, who will? Belief is a verb, faith with works. So, you know, they put belief in as a noun. But when you look at it from the standpoint of a verb, to accept something as true, genuine, or real ideals, it's something that you have to do. All right. It's something that you have to do.